Overclockers, my name's Briony and I love driving games, just like Assetto Corsa EVO, which made its way to early access on the 16th of January. Despite a few early access teething issues, this sequel is pretty incredible, with improvements to the driving feel, physics and graphics. The graphics aren't quite as impressive as I expected, but the car models are spot on, and the way that each car drives and handles feels very realistic. I found myself immersed in race after race in my favourite cars like the BMW M2 and Ferrari 488. But what specs do you need to get started? Let's find out. Assetto Corsa EVO pushes the boundaries of sim racing with its next-gen engine developed by Cuno's Simulazioni and specifically designed for driving simulation, with full support for VR headsets, triple screens and photorealistic details. You can see from the trailer the vastly improved visuals, the highly detailed car models, the lifelike lighting and those dynamic weather conditions. Meanwhile, the advanced physics engine recreates traction, feel and aerodynamics so you can get fully immersed driving around a rain-soaked Nürburgring or practicing the perfect drift. The initial launch features 5 tracks and 20 cars, and the actual gameplay includes a single-player practice mode, a single-player quick race mode, car customization, and a car purchase rental system. More modes, such as the online play and the highly anticipated open world, are expected to launch in the months following the initial early access launch. The full release with all the features is planned closer to the end of 2025. Assetto Corsa EVO overall delivers an experience that competitive sim racers and car enthusiasts like me love. But with great visuals and realism often comes some significant PC hardware demands. So let's dive into the PC requirements. To get Assetto Corsa EVO running at basic settings, you'll need an Intel Core i7-8700K or AMD Ryzen 5 1500X, an NVIDIA GTX 1070 or AMD RX 580 paired with 16GB of RAM. DirectX 12 support and 8GB of VRAM is the limiting factor when it comes to minimum GPU requirements. Meanwhile, both the minimum CPUs have at least 4 cores. An SSD is also required to play, and this is a big title with lots of detailed textures and data, so you'll need at least 100GB of free storage space. A broadband internet connection is also required, as, like it or not, some of the game's features are online only. With these specs, you'll be able to play at 1080p resolution, low settings, and achieve around 60 FPS. The Intel Core i7-8700K and AMD Ryzen 5 1500X offer some solid performance for basic gameplay, but may struggle with the more complex physics. The GTX 1070 and RX 580, while they're older GPUs, they still deliver some adequate performance for those low settings, though you will have to deal with some limited texture quality and reduced visual effects. The 16GB of memory needed is typical for a modern game, and when paired with the SSD ensures smoother loading times and fewer stutters. For a smoother and more immersive experience, aim for the recommended specifications, which include an Intel Core i5-10500 or AMD Ryzen 5 2600X paired with NVIDIA RTX 2070 or AMD RX 5600 XT. You'll also need at least 16GB of RAM and the same 100GB of SSD storage. A faster internet connection is also likely to be beneficial to make the most of those online features. For recommended specs, I actually think they're pretty modest for a modern title with such detailed graphics. Assetto Corsa is actually a lot easier to run than I expected from looking at all those fancy graphics in the original trailers. The processors and graphics cards listed are well over 5 years old, but they should deliver great performance at 1080p or even 1440p at medium to high settings. For the ultimate Assetto Corsa EVO experience, be prepared to invest in some top-tier hardware. These specs aren't official, but what you'll need if you want to max things out and enjoy the game at its full potential. CPU-wise, I reckon an Intel Core i9-3900K or AMD Ryzen 9 7950X will do the job, with 32GB of memory and a high-end GPU like the NVIDIA 4080 or AMD 7900 XTX. The storage requirement is likely to be the same at 100 gigabytes, and high-speed storage and fast internet will cut down on loading times and improve your online gameplay and races. With these specs, you can max out pretty much every setting and race in stunning 4K resolution, but still enjoy some buttery smooth frame rates at around 60 to 120 FPS. For example, I have an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D and RTX 4090, and I get around 150 FPS on a widescreen 3840 by 1440p display with maxed out graphic settings. These high performance parts, unfortunately, they do not come cheap, but there's also plenty of headroom for upcoming mods that could improve the visuals even further and add to the overall immersion. So what PCs do I recommend based on these specs? My affordable pick is the OC UK Gaming Mac 1. It comes equipped with a Ryzen 5600, RTX 4060 and 16GB of RAM. This is the modern equivalent of the recommended specs, and it's ideal for playing at 1080p with those medium graphic settings while still achieving a smooth FPS. It's going to be available with next day delivery, and it comes with a 3-year warranty, all for just £800. A wheel and pedal set is also 100% needed for any sim racing title, and I'd opt for the affordable Moser R3 wheel and pedal set for just under £400. For playing at a higher resolution and cranking up those graphic settings, I recommend the OC UK Gaming Calcite. It has an Intel Core i7-14700KF, RTX 4070 Ti Super and 32GB of memory. It comes in a really great looking white case with all-in-one cooler and lots of adjustable RGB lighting, and you can expect to play Assetto Corsa 1440p with high settings for £2,000. A well-priced wheel and pedal set to pair with it is the Moser R5 bundle for £458.99. For maxing things out at 4K, I'd recommend a PC with an RTX 4080 or 4090. However, due to the impending launch of the RTX 50 series, all these cards are end of life or out of stock, meaning there's no pre-built options currently available. So it's worth waiting to see PCs like the Synthwave and the Gaming Radiance get updated with the brand new NVIDIA GPUs. However, if you want a PC now, take a look at the OC UK Gaming Condor for just £2,600, an all AMD powered system with a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, which can be upgraded to the newer 9800X3D for an extra 80 quid. The GPU is an RX 7900 XTX, a powerful high-end card that can power sims and games at 4K resolution. And when it comes to a high-end wheel to pair with it, check out the Moser Racing FSR wheel with the direct drive Moser Racing R16 wheelbase and Moser Racing CRP2 pedals for an overall awesome experience. Running it at those maxed out graphic settings does require some serious hardware, but a more budget PC will still give you a reasonable experience. So whether you're upgrading your current rig or building a brand new one, there's going to be options for every budget. Assetto Corsa EVO is available on Steam in early access right now, and you can stay tuned for more info across their social channels when it comes to upcoming updates and patches with even more content. Make sure to let us know in the comments below if your PC is racing ready for Assetto Corsa EVO or if you need to upgrade to try it. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more launch and hardware guides, and why not check out one of our other episodes down below. I'll see you all on the track.